Hey, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about the Rippaverse Showcase because, as you know, that we're going to be discussing it. And I thought, hey, why not do a recording of my reaction to everything that's going on with the Rippaverse, and let's just see what he's about. So here's the review.
And our release schedule will accommodate this. You've decided that the Rippaverse is your go-to form of entertainment, and we should be producing as such. Now, previously, we released graphic novel-sized books with a lot of time in between releases. Pre-order windows now will be shortened whenever.
Now, if you really think about it, just kind of like stepped up the game for independence. Like, damn, because could you imagine if like Image or
possible, and some books will not be a part of the.
Valid Universe or um what's another one? I can't I'm drawing a blank. Oh god. Di- um Dynamite Comic Books did like a little showcase of like what's coming up for their new stuff or whatever. Like this is why I say with independence, you got to get people engaged. Like, Jeff Johns and them, a lot of people from DC did working on the Ghost Machine universe or whatever. I think I don't really know much about it because I really haven't heard anything from it, and it's kind of crazy. Yeah, they'll show up at these things, but like as far as like being in the cultural zeitgeist as a constant reminder or showing me something, I'm not getting that. I'm just getting like the artist might post or something or whatever. But as far as like getting me interacted, I think that's where a lot of them miss the mark on that one. But let's
collection format at all. And because we have a universe to flesh out, initially the books were often number ones and based on new characters. Now in 2025, that's going to be much different. Sure, we have some new characters and titles that we want to show off, but this upcoming year, you're going to see a lot of follow-ups to previous stories. Now that you've met several characters, it's time that we continue with their adventures. That'll help this feel like a living and breathing universe. In order to get multiple issues out for multiple titles, we're going to shorten the page count of some issues. Now, they'll still be much bigger than the traditional floppies, but this will now lower the cost of entry while not having you wait so long between issues. It's going to be a very productive year, so we'll start.
That's pretty cool though to be able to bring out more issues but lower the cost for people who are still hesitant to get into the Rippaverse because I know it's kind of the price or whatever. But honestly, the reason why I prefer that because I just feel like we shouldn't have to pay $5 or $10 for less than 30 pages of work. And that's what's happening nowadays. Like at this point, I'd rather DC and Marvel just put at least volume one already out. So when volume like for instance with Absolute Universe for DC right now, just go ahead and put the first six issues out, and I'd rather pay 22 or $30 for the first six comic books in one volume than having to pay $5 separately every day. Um, which is kind of making it kind of hard when you kind of reviewing it or whatever because I did promise I was going to try to buy a little bit more of the comic books that I'm reviewing, but just $5 every couple of weeks for less than 30 pages really ain't worth it, and it's really a hit to the wallet.
With some things that you may already be aware of. Let's take another look at the Rippaverse Trinity.
In 2022, the Rippaverse
that because we already talked about my thoughts and opinions on that one. So I'm gonna skip over that one.
Oh, I'm really excited for you to get the first volume of the Rippaverse Trinity. The remastered art of Cliff Richards looks great, and it's also our first ever oversized hardcover. It's up for pre-order right now, so go reserve your copy. But moving on, not too long ago, we announced our first cosmic hero, an original conception of both Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett. It looks like many of you are very excited.
giving Namor. It's giving Namor like it looked like a Power Ranger Namor the Submariner. Um I don't know what to think about this one though. It looks like it's Gladiator meets Namor meets Superman. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more answers because I need just a tad bit more answers before I can invest into that one. Just my personal opinion on that one. Just throwing out that kind of thought. But Zelene, interesting.
Hey, this is Chuck Dixon. I got a new project coming out called Zalen. It's a
Oh,
brand new character I have. I
I said
co-created it with Joe
Zelene.
Bennett. We cooked it up in our Sick Little Minds. He's a space-going, spacefaring, cosmic warrior. And he's going to play a major part in events coming up in the Rippaverse very soon. I think you're going to really like this guy.
Hey folks, I'm Mike Barron. I've been writing comic books all my life. I started out with my own creations, Nexus and Badger, and I'm happy to say that both those characters are alive today. Nexus is probably the most honored independent superhero comic of all time. From there, I went on to write many other titles for many other publishers. But I've always been drawn to fringe characters. And when Eric July asked me to write Gooding, I jumped at the chance. Gooding is the type of character I might have thought up myself, a self-made millionaire, a genius.
I got that book was horrible. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. That book was horrible. When I tell you it's one of those not every character needs a book. Yeah. Yeah, this character Gooding the polymath he need a book at all. You could have just fleshed him out in other stories and just have him as a supporting character because to me that was probably one of the worst Rippaverse books I've ever read. I just was like, I don't care. I don't care. Luckily, it wasn't as expensive as other books, so that's why I brought it. But Jesus Christ,
an autodidact and a polymath. Polymath is a master of many disciplines. Now, you may have read the first Gooding, I hope so, and they say that a writer should write what he knows, but it's also the writer's job to imagine every point of view. So the writer has to put his head in whatever character he attempts to make real, or otherwise he'll fail. Believe it or not, Gooding's trick against Ron Hodges in high school comes from personal experience. I had read Alpha Core and some of the other offerings that the Rippaverse has since produced, and I was determined to open the scene up, and that's why Gooding #1 is much bigger than Gooding in the origin and deals with matters of life and death, as most of these books do, and also with international disputes. But I was thinking of Alpha Core, and I realized that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that the existence of Alpha Core, a number of superheroes dedicated to good in Fluorspark, required the rise of another organization, and that's where Delta Base came from.
okay, so he's doing Delta Base, so we'll see more from Mike Barron soon. Hopefully it'll be better than Goodwin. I mean Goodwin.
All right, guys, let's get to the rest of the showcase. We have a bunch of announcement trailers lined up for you today.
You know what this reminds me of?
I miss you.
You know what this reminds me of? This little showcase. It reminds me of when I don't know if y'all remember when DC did their little internet little showcase thing. That was really cool back in the day where they kind of got us it or whatever. What was it called? What was it called? I forgot what it was called. It was called something, right? Oh Lord, I forgot what the little thing was called, but what we had to get on the DC universe, and it was something. What was the damn thing called? Jesus Christ. Um, what was it? Wasn't it called DC something? God, I'm so mad that I do not remember what the hell that thing was called at all. Right. DC Fandom. Yes, that's what Eric July is doing. He's doing like a DC fandom, but with the Rippaverse. I think it was really cool. I think it's really cool. We can review and all talk about all that kind of stuff. Let's see more Blood Ruth.
I miss you so damn much. Things weren't supposed to be this way. You should still be here, next to me. My brothers, my mother. If only I could turn back the clock or find some magic to bring you back. Grandmother tells me I should not interfere with the nature of things, but she broke the rules with grandfather. This is a price I'm willing to pay the coin for. There must be a way. She says it is forbidden magic. I wouldn't hope to accomplish this feat without having one of the world's greatest magicians to assist. Well, Nana, I just so happen to have one of those, and he owes me big time. Their souls are on the other side. Can I hope to traverse oblivion to be with them again? My family. What I wouldn't give for you to be beside me like you used to be.
Ooh. Oh, Blood Ruth number 2 is already coming, so y'all already know I'm gonna go for that one because I already ordered Blood Ruth number 1. The only reason why I haven't got it yet is because I did the little order where I get Horseman and Blood Ruth together. So once Blood Ruth finishes up its fulfillment, then I'll get Horseman and Blood Ruth. That's why I haven't been ordered yet because I just excuse me. I did the thing where because Eric on his website was basically like, if I want to order Horseman and Blood Ruth, do I want to get them separately or do I want to get them together? So I just did them together because it's much cheaper to do them together, order them separately. So that's why, because I did that. That's why I did it. That's why I haven't recorded. That's why I haven't did a video of Horseman yet. Blood Ruth seemed like she's going to be like a black female John Constantine sort of, but a little bit more level headed. But you know what I don't? You know what I hate? And this isn't just first thing. This is like a trope where someone is the last of their line or whatever, especially if it's a female. And I'm just thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, why can't you have some children to make sure that your bloodline still goes on, especially if your bloodline is tied to some kind of magic or whatever? Wouldn't it make sense for you to find a man and get pregnant or whatever and stuff like that? Like, I understand because they're saving the world or whatever, but sometimes I just think like, maybe for like a year or whatever, you can have the baby and then leave the baby with the dad or whatever, and make sure when 18 happens, you tell them the story or whatever, or you leave them clues or whatever, do something like that. But stop doing this lone warrior thing, knowing damn well your family's line is tied to some powerful magic or whatever. And again, this isn't a Rippaverse thing. This is just me talking as somebody who sees this trope all the time.
I don't like talking about it. But we should talk about it more as a nation. It was an already fractured territory. Texas today is not Texas of yesteryear. What seemed like a usual international conflict change the lives of everybody, especially me.
The Great War of Separation. Uh-oh, it looks like this is about to be the first ever major event in the Rippaverse. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Let's see what this Great War of Separation will be about. This will be really interesting. Also going to be a limited series. Okay.
There's an upcoming project, The Great War of Separation. This is a major, major event in the Rippaverse universe. It's written by me, drawn by Jack Herbert. It looks astounding. The artwork looks astounding. But the thing you need to know as a Rippaverse fan is the story takes place decades ago and explains how Texas became an independent state from the rest of the United States, and how a lot of the characters that you already love in these stories came to be. How they got their powers, what makes them Excepts, and what is an Except. And a lot of this is explained in The Great War of Separation, coming soon from me and artist Jack Herbert. This is a great big honkin' origin story that you're going to need to read.
And if y'all know Chuck Dixon is very good at writing war storylines. He's written plenty of ones, especially in his time with family or whatever. So I guess this will be really cool because I didn't know Texas was separated from the United States at in this current time. So that's really cool to find out, honestly.
I'd already looked it over. I have a lead, but I like to look my clients in the eyes. William Scotcher, Chief Operations Officer of Britford Trucking. They are being targeted. Tens of millions of dollars worth of goods have been intercepted. They only deal with high-value loads, and this has to lower trust with the other companies. The inventory is all over the place. Either they're targeting Britford, or they're just opportunistic vandals. It must be the former. They're too bold. So, who has the most to gain? A competitor. Very few companies handle luxury goods. It just so happens that Flores Park Logistics had to downsize a few years ago. The first time ever. Why don't we pay them a visit?
Okay, Savage Lethal Ford.
Man, issue number 1 of the Ripazine was something else because we didn't know how well the Ripazines were going to do. It was one of those things that we wanted to find a place to really test the market out for some characters instead of committing to these long form books. And you never know, you put something out just because you've been successful in the past does not mean that people are going to want this new character. So when we released it first, we all were a little antsy because you never know with those types of things. I am a nerd for a lot of old detective stuff, crime noir things, and it was fun to write Salvage because people got to see that kind of side of me. It is a completely different story in comparison to something like Isom, for example. They're two completely different characters altogether, and the general style or genre that they fit in is completely different. So people kind of got to see through these private investigator stories that side of me. We put it out and we saw the reception. We even had some polls go out, really getting some audience feedback, and almost unanimously, people wanted more Salvage altogether. So I immediately got to work writing some ideas to really finish up on the initial story that was being told by myself and, of course, the legendary Bart Sears. And, of course, I reached back out to him, and he said he was in to do a more longer form graphic novel to really finish out this story that we started off in that first issue of the Ripazine with Salvage. When you have a city like Flores Park and it has the police officers, even a Alpha Corps, that is also attached to the police. How do private investigators fit in that was something that we had to really try to figure out. And I wanted to make them special, not just any sort of private investigator. And this is how we came up with the whole LF certification as salvage lethal force, which is what this upcoming graphic novel is going to be. That's what that LF stands for. And it's a special certification that only few people in Flores Park even have, salvage being one of them. So it was our way to really kind of not just make it special to him, but also get the mind jogging as, okay, so you have this private investigator in Flores Park with this special certification. What about the others? So, salvage is sort of investigating this crime or these repeated crimes that have been committed against a trucking company. And certainly being where I'm from, it was something that it was a story that I had kicking around in my head. I know a lot of truckers in real life, a lot of my family members, and it sort of influenced me to kind of write this story here. And I can't wait for people to kind of find out what's really, really going on. If you read the first Rippaverse, you saw the way that thing ended, and you were like, who in the world is that guy that he's going to be faced up against? Well, of course, you will be learning about that in the Salvage Lethal Force. I didn't know initially, as I was creating the character, if I wanted to give him like a superpower, because I really wanted him to be like this character that people could easily relate to. And that's not to say that characters with powers folks can't relate to. They obviously can. But I wanted him to be a person that people could find really, really believable. So we attached this superpower, if you will, which he has this abnormal hearing. And you can imagine, certainly as a detective, when he goes around snooping around as an investigator, well, that can be a very, very useful thing. And that's why I explain the powers when you read up on this next story. You're going to really get it. I feel like we did it in a creative way. It's not just a guy with super hearing by any means, but you saw a little bit of that play out. And I'm really, 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 really excited for you guys to read the upcoming Salvage Lethal Force book by myself and the legendary Bart Sears.
I was just feeling sick.
No.
It was the worst day. Mom was crying.
Another nightmare.
Okay, so we got Salvage Lethal Force. Honestly, I thought the story was going to continue like in the Rippaverse 3, honestly. More so because they let the first arc of Salvage end up in Rippaverse 3, and then once that story arc is completed, then you spin them off into a book. That's how I feel. That's what I would have did personally for me. Oh, my
Every
girl.
night I'm forced to watch my family die. Every night I'm treated to a symphony of horrors. And no matter how hard I try, I fail. They call out to me to save them, but I'm helpless. Ever since I executed you, old friend, you've sent me ethereal messages that the mighty black sorcerer cannot be so easily defeated. Is this some spell you cast before I delivered your death blow? Could you have somehow survived and patiently wait till I'm at my weakest to strike? Until you have succeeded in driving me insane. Could there be truth to my visions? Are you all still alive somewhere, lurking in the darkness?
Ooh, y'all know. Wait, y'all know I can't wait. Early 2025. Oh yeah, y'all already know I'm getting this book. Y'all already know I'm getting this book. Y'all already know I don't care what nobody say. Yaira to me is probably the best character out of all the Rippaverse so far. That's my favorite character. I can't wait. Jen and Sylvia Soska, the Soska sisters. I can't wait to read more. I love Yaira. I don't care what any of y'all say. Yaira is probably my favorite out of all the Rippaverse characters that been introduced or whatever. I was waiting for that book. I read that book. I read it twice, and love Yaira. I want to see more of her. I don't care. And I did like 2 art pieces of Yaira. So I love Yaira. So I can't wait to see number 2. But no, I couldn't afford that statue. Could not afford that statue. Nope, not at all though. But if I could have, I would have got it. Like it better come
Hi,
in
I'm
early year.
Sylvia,
And I'm Jen. Hi.
and we are the lore masters, editors, and writers at the Rippaverse.
We are also horror directors and the Twisted Twins. Since we already spoiled it, we are writing Yaira 2. Yaira 2 is happening.
Yes!
Thank you for the success of Yaira 1.
Thank you very much. And what happens to Yaira in Yaira 2? Well, she got in a little bit of a mess in the first Yaira, and there are going to be repercussions.
Yeah, since continuity is kind of a big deal in our universe, anything that Yaira messed up, she's gonna have to clean up in number 2.
And if you thought we were rough on Yaira in Yaira 1, wait for Yaira 2. We do not go easy on the Ice Queen this time.
Yaira has all new villains.
Yeah.
She has some new allies.
And let's just say we saw some requests online for what you guys wanted her wearing, and Deborah Carita was more than happy to oblige.
She better be wearing that.
We must assess the situation.
Uh-oh.
Alerting the others is not required. I would not suggest such a thing.
Oh my God, guys, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. If this is what I think it is, it's happening.
As it would send this realm into chaos. I do suppose if they are here, our run will assist us in nailing down their exact whereabouts. It has been a very long time since we've had a reason to get involved in the affairs of Earth. If it is time, they will soon find out. Our lyrics are not make-believe!
It's a normal. Let's go. Let's go! Limited series coming 2025. Yeah.
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money on takeout every done.
I'm getting back on track with Factor.
Fresh, never frozen.
So I introduced Norfolka in ISOM #1, and since then, like every comment in any video that we do, it's when's Norfolka coming? When are they going to show up? And that's awesome because they were some of the first a few characters that.
How you going to introduce them in ISOM #1? We done went through ISOM #1 to Alpha Core, Yaira #1, Horseman, and Bloodroot, and we still haven't seen them. Come on now. Ooh, you know what would be funny if Eric July does his own version of Thor. Like, could you imagine adding, like, doing the Norfolkas and then adding Thor into the mix, like, as maybe a hero that decides to take interest in Flora's part? I'm just saying, because Thor is open domain, is an open domain character, so technically, it could it be out of the realms of possibility if Thor is in New York City in Marvel's universe? How can it be in Forest Park, Rippaverse? I'm just saying, Eric. I think you know what you need to do. Go ahead and make a version of Thor. Go ahead and make your version of Thor. Yeah, might as well.
That I actually created before you guys had ever even heard about the Rippaverse, and they have a very specific purpose within the Rippaverse. Again, if you read the end of ISOM #1, they're not just there at random. You know, they're in this touring band, and you're left to think, why did this touring band have these gods or godlike beings that are part of it? Takari and Valadan, they have a very, very specific like purpose, right? And not just that, we've left nuggets along the way if you've read any really of the stories within the Rippaverse. And so we knew that we needed to come out swinging when we did eventually end up giving them either in a limited series or this sort of ongoing, because again, like I said, they do have a specific purpose. They just weren't random characters that we threw in. We have certain elements of the story that we're telling that they absolutely need to fulfill, but the demand is there, so we got to kind of keep things going. It's no secret that I'm a metal guy. I'm in a metal band, been in several others before, backwards the one that I am in right now. So this is obviously something that's near and dear to me. One of the easier stories for me to tell. And, we're tapping into some history, some mythologies, different things, but a touring band, I've been there and sort of done that. So as you guys start to hear at least that aspect of the story, so you're talking about the present day or current day Rippaverse, it's going to be a fun one. Because there's some lessons that I've learned along the way, some experience, things that I've seen with my own eyes that we're going to be able to entertain and really bring to you if you have not ever been in a metal band or a touring band or anything like that. But yeah, because we left those little nuggets in some of the previous stories that we've told within the Rippaverse and even some of the ones in the future, there's going to be a massive payoff. Now, I can't tell you guys what exactly that's going to be, but just know that Norfolk plays a very vital role within our universe. I first started working with Ronaldson, who will be the artist for Norfolk Glorious Death, this limited series, with like Horseman, and there's some other covers that he's done along the way. And guy is one heck of an artist. And as soon as I got to working with him, I was like, man, we got to get you on some sequential work. And he was hungry for that. That's what he wanted. And I can't wait for people to see him be able to tell some of these stories as well, because they're taking place in different areas. Let's just say that. And because they're taking place in these different areas, you needed someone that could really is really detailed with their backgrounds, things of that nature. And he really, really, really does a very phenomenal job at that. So yeah, there's lots and lots of story to tell with Norfolk, and finally, we get to tell some of those stories in Norfolk Glorious Death by myself and Ronaldson. Can't wait for you guys to read it this upcoming year, 2025.
You've heard me say it before, and I'm gonna keep saying it. There is a strong link between your gut health and your mental health. AG1.
Guys, I got news. I'm finally leaving Sylvia. No, it's happened. It's overdue. Honestly, we're going our own ways.
It's true. We had a lot of you guys ask, who wrote Mara and Yaira? Who wrote which part? And we're like, well, I guess the audience doesn't really know our writing style.
Well, obviously, the good parts of Yaira that you liked, I wrote. We'll see.
You can feel when something bad is about to happen. People swear these things appear out of thin air, but there are always signs, if you know where to look. I often see what others miss, things most are never meant to see. So is the nature of my curse. I love pain. It makes me stronger. The worse the pain, the greater the suffering, the stronger I become. Whereas others live their lives avoiding pain and suffering at all costs, I turn to it. I welcome strength, no matter what the cost. Every ending is also a beginning. From death comes a new life. Before Michael Copper, before Flores Park, I rose to power. A power that was my birthright. It is not my fault. Sometimes bad things happen around me, and I do not know why. But sometimes very bad things happen. I wish I could control it, but I can't. I just know when something bad is about to happen. And I've got that feeling again. Something bad is about to happen. Very bad. All I need to do is give it one little push. I am Lillian Ronashi. Welcome to my world.
I'm getting Psylocke vibes. I'm getting Psylocke horror kind of vibes, if you ask me. But that's just my personal opinion on that one. Like it looks like we're gonna get another book called Cursed. So let's see what else Sylvia Jen, was it Jen? I believe. Oh God. Woo! Yeah, it is Jen. Jen is writing this one. The Curse. So it looks like maybe mixture of Raven and Silent.
Well, I have a special surprise for you fans. We're going solo. We are writing our own books. And my book will be starring none other than Lillian Renashi, the ultimate Japanese femme fatale. Who is she and what does she want? Well, I know you're dying to know, and I'm dying to tell you. If you're a fan of Japanese horror, especially the great Junji Ito, you are absolutely going to love this book. It is a mature
I
horror
feel it with
novel.
Japanese
It
horror
has
gonna be involved.
extreme and disturbing situations in it. It is a sci-fi body horror thriller. And Andrew's in the room. I don't know if I can say very much more, but what I can tell you is it's better than Phelps. So much. Like, don't even bother buying Sylve's book. I don't even know if it fits into the continuity of the universe, to be honest. Lillian is going to grab you by the censored word and not let go in a good way. Just remember your safe word.
She said, "Remember a safe word."
Oh, be honest. We all have things in life that we want, things that we desire. You only get one life. Why deny yourself pleasure? It could all be gone in an instant. Your life snuffed out. And where did all that self-sacrifice land you? We all die, but so few truly live. I can see what you want. I know how far you're willing to go to make it happen. I can make it happen for you. I can make your wildest dreams come true. Hell, I can even make you a star, if you're willing to do the work. Why not guarantee your success with a deal with me? I have a very exclusive club, you might say.
Oh, like
In growing
Hellfire Club of
numbers
the Rippaverse.
every day.
Yeah, that's
You'd be
right.
amazed by who's
Hellfire
one
Club.
part of us. You should join us. Why don't we make a deal? I have a contract right here. You'll be very glad that you did. This is going to change your life. And after I'm done with you, nothing will ever be the same again. Welcome to the Black Eye Club.
Oh look, I was talking about Hellfire Club, Black Eye Club. That's close enough, right? Ah, close enough. This one's written by Sylvia Saskia. Okay, okay. A little bit of Hellfire.
With Lucid, agile teams don't have to start from
Okay,
square
all
one.
these
Need
commercials.
to run agile events with a hybrid team?
Hi guys. So now that you heard about that girly stuff that Jen's up to, let's get to the good stuff with Michael Copper.
Ooh.
Everybody loves a bad boy. For those literary fans in the Rippaverse, if you are a fan of Chuck Palahniuk or Bret Easton Ellis, you are gonna love Michael when him and his fancy
It's
suits
crazy.
get on the town and really let.
It's crazy because both of those characters showed up in Alpha Core. So I guess it makes sense to have spin-offs of them, but I'm surprised they're not like a combo book piece. I wouldn't be surprised if like Eric does a combo thing where it's like you get both of the books, like a front and back kind of thing or whatever. Just to that way we can buy both of the characters at once. Like I feel like he's going to do like a separate thing, and then he's going to collect the both of them so you can get them both all at once. I bet you that's what's going to happen.
Loose, in a Michael Copper way. There's babes. There's a lot of fighting. There might be even a little dirtiness from Hollywood. Not that I would have seen any of that and put it in the script. And buy a couple of gems just for niceness, but buy like 2 of Michael's.
But don't buy any of those. Just buy Lillian. You don't need Michael. You don't need him, honestly.
Okay, so we're kind of competitive. Don't buy her book, buy my book.
But y'all read Alpha Core, right? Michael Copper is useless. Lillian Renache, she gets poo-poo done.
He was holding back. You read Michael Copper and you're like, whoa, this boy. Whoa. That's what I said. Whoa, right? I saw generating and she was like, whoa. And then
I was like, not.
She was crying. She's like, oh, she wrote better comic books. I did not. That's exactly what she did. She was like for like an hour and I was like, Jen, it's okay.
That never happened.
Your comic's all right.
I think she's remembering when she was crying because Lillian was so good.
Ahora, chicas. Vámonos. Arriba. I guess my Tex-Mex old boy Spanglish got through to them.
Uh-oh.
Or maybe they were just running from the crazy dude in the mask. Probably a couple million in fentanyl here. Anyway, they won't be going to Flores Park.
Oh, we're getting a Horseman 2. Let's go. This one's called Just the Horseman. So I guess all of that work that he did, Horseman's Welcome to Forest Park, we're finally I guess because it was successful enough to create an ongoing series that's going to be written by Chuck Dixon, drawn by Joe Bennett, and colored by Jay Brown. Okay, cool. I can't wait to read the first volume before I'm going to be involved. But if you ask me, like I said, I think it should have been Horseman, Yaira, and Isom as the Rippaverse Trinity, because you have Horseman as a ground level character, and you have the two superpower beings, which is one is like Wonder Woman, and the other one is like Superman with Isom, since he's the headline character. That's just my personal opinion. My personal opinion on that situation, but hey, it is what it is, right? It is what it is, and what it is what it ain't.
Hey, thanks to your enthusiastic reactions to the Horseman, we're already working on Horseman #1. The script, and Joe started on the pages. Stuff looks fantastic. I think you're going to have a lot of surprises in store. You may think you know what the Horseman's about, but you really don't. And you're going to find out more and more about the Horseman and his world.
That'd be cool. Ooh, hope at Horse Girl.
I'm not fond of Parlay and his gang.
All right, hold on. What John Delarose made like a character that he would think would fit into the Horse Girl world. I hope him, Eric, and Chuck Dixon is talking about it, because that'll be bad to the world.
But his information is useful. I assume that he'll become a problem eventually, but he's not the big threat. The recent moves have little to do with Parlay's gang. Mondo Mation is playing the long game.
Okay.
Parlay's territory has the largest school district in Flores Park. They're not looking for war. These scumbags want recruits. Young, naive boys and girls. I'm not under any delusions. I can't bring down an entire gang by myself. But a little push here, and a little shove there, perhaps I can at least make something shake. Turmoil can be good business, but the little ones deserve a shot. They prey on them to secure a future. Yesterday's youth are tomorrow's adults. I've got to find a way to disrupt this.
3 of your ex-boyfriends
ex died. Sure, a few of my exes are dead. I do too. Roll on some deodorant and we'll head out.
Cerise is getting. I can't wait to see it. I thought that she was really cool. But like I said, I think that would have been to add to her story for Rippaverse. I mean Rippazine 4. I think Salvage and Cerise should have kept their story in the Rippazine books first, and then once their first arc is done, then give them an ongoing series. That's just my personal opinion.
So Ripazine number 2, unexpectedly, did better than Ripazine number 1. I think a lot of that had to do, of course, with the team that was on that story. It wasn't just myself, because there were a lot of people that wanted sequential art coming from our art director, Kanan White. It was just highly, highly anticipated once people got a glimpse at that character. So Ripazine issue number 2 just absolutely took off. So while I'm trying to plan for Salvage's book, I had this other problem, which is a good problem to have, and that I had another character that a lot of people wanted. So I had to get started kind of kicking some ideas around. Now, I had most of the story already written as far as the layout, but now we're starting to do something in a different format, of course, than what we're doing with Salvage, because Salvage will be just more or less just a traditional sort of graphic novel. This is going to be an ongoing series with Saoirse number 1. Now, as you've probably heard me already talk about, I nerd out about the detective stuff, but all detectives aren't equal, right? They have different things that motivate them. They approach things in a different style. And I really wanted to capture that esque of sort of that film fatale and being a private investigator, not necessarily just a spy of some sort, but a legitimate private investigator that's taking on some really, really crazy cases. And she's different from Salvage. So they're both private investigators. They have that LF certification, but they're not the same. And it's not just as simple as her utilizing her beauty to kind of navigate this world of Florist Park, really, in being an LF certified person. It's not just that, because with Salvage, he takes on certain types of things. And if you've read the book, you know with Ripazine issue number 2, he doesn't just take on any sort of gig. There's special types of gigs that he has to deal with. You know, Saoirse, she's left with these very, very dangerous gigs, and she's getting involved in this story with Mondo Mason, and really can't wait for people to see how that's going to play out. Kanan's artwork on this is amazing. My good friend, and of course our concept artist, and Marcos, he helped design the character. Kanan had just a little bit of input there as well, and that's his gal. So when I approached him with, hey, this thing blew up, we got to do something longer form, like before I could even finish my sentence, he was ready to get some more work done. So I'm really stoked to be working with him. I think we kind of have this dynamic duo, this tandem working together on projects like this. And in Saoirse, I think for years to come, this is going to be a character that a lot of people love, a lot of people gravitate towards, and yeah, they're just going to thoroughly enjoy it. It is a fun story, but it is a story that's meant to sort of make you think. She's now.
Oh, you know what, Cerise also reminds me of like a matured Kim Possible. But like I said, that's why I think both and Cerise should have been in the upcoming Ripazine thing, and then flush out their stories a little bit more before giving them an ongoing series. But that's just my personal opinion.
Navigate Florist Park. Yes, an affluent city, but there's different sides of it. You got the Upper East that we've talked about, Upper West. Florist Park is a big city state. So there's a lot of things that we get to entertain in that sort of underground and the underworld in which she's operating. It's such a fun thing to do, fun story to tell. And of course, Kanan just has a way of really adapting the story and capturing the essence of who I wanted Saoirse to be. And I just can't wait for you guys to read this ongoing series, starting, of course, with Saoirse number 1, which will be dropping in 2025.
You know, the word empire is used very loosely. People just associate it with wealth and power. What exactly is it? At what point does an enterprise become an empire? An empire is a state of existence. That's because it isn't about mere wealth and power. It's about control and respect. It never stops being built. But you know when it begins to crumble. My history with them gives us a bit of an advantage, doesn't it? I'm sending a memo with all the details of this man and what I expect from you all. You'll immediately realize certain things ain't off limits.
ISO number 3 coming, y'all. Finally, we get ISO number 3. Let's go. As the ill-advised arc finally reaches climax. Let's hope it's something good.
I mean, this is our flagship hero. It's a personal character. You know who he's named after. Again, it being the first character that really had this responsibility for putting over these other characters as well that you guys have come to love. There's been a massive demand for ISOM, and ISOM number 3 is really, really special. If you read ISOM 1 and 2, there's a lot going on. A lot that's hanging above Avery's head. He has this Darren Fontano situation to worry about. He helped rescue Sam, who has his own things going on with Bloodruth. And it's just so many different avenues and paths. And now we get to bring everything together in this final issue of this arc, the first ever arc for ISOM with this ill-advised arc with ISOM number 3, and I just cannot wait for people to read it. You know, Darren Fontano is an interesting case, right? He's not just some crime lord in this big city. You know, he has a connection to Avery in terms of his past, so that gives him an advantage like no other. And because he's having to deal with the dynamic of maintaining that status that he has, and ISOM sort of threatened it, he's got to deal with that. And he recognizes that he absolutely has to address that. However, there's a lot that both don't know about the other, which is it's going to make for some really interesting stories that we're going to be telling in this massive book in ISOM number 3. Cliff Richards being the first artist that people got to see as far as his interior work. You know, he's taking it up to another level, and that was something that he really wanted to do. You know, we had the help of our art director and Kanan White that kind of came along after the fact and really wanted to elevate. That was his goal, to really elevate every artist that we have here. And some of you guys got to see some of his newer work in that remaster, which is in the Rippaverse Trinity, volume number 1. And you can see how he's cleaned some things up. He's enhanced some different things, and he's taken all of what he's learned along the way, obviously, and now he really, really does understand this character in ISOM with ISOM number 3. So to me, and yeah, you may can say this is easy for me to say, but I actually believe this is some of Cliff's best work ever. It is so good, so good. And of course, we have our new colorist and Sebastian Chang, and he even elevates it even more. So the both of those guys as a tandem really make for some fun storytelling here with ISOM number 3. And because we have a lot of the story to wrap up to close out this particular arc, it's a big book, guys. I mean, ISOM 2 was bigger than ISOM 1. ISOM 3 is bigger than ISOM number 2. There's just so much of the story that we really needed to tell to finish out this arc, and we wanted to take our time. That's the awesome thing about the format that we had released with this, and that we could tell whatever story we wanted, and we weren't being rushed. None of the creators were being rushed. And while I do know, and I'm very aware of that demand where so many people like, look, man, where is the next ISOM? I'm waiting for it. Trust me, it's going to be well worth the wait. You're going to get a great story. Of course, I feel really good about it. I feel like this is some of my best work, and also Cliff's best work as well. And it is a satisfying conclusion to this first arc, but it's also, I think, going to leave you with some questions as well, and you're going to be stoked about ISOM going into the future, or at minimum, you're going to be curious about it. So ISOM 3 coming out finally in 2025. Myself, Cliff Richards, Sebastian Chang. Man, I know you guys are going to love this story just as much as I love creating them for you all, and that support that you guys gave it and have given Ice this brand new, fresh character. He's only 2 years in, and you supported him the way that you have. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to all of us in the Rippaverse, and that's why we wanted to write the absolute best story that we could with Ice number 3.
Wilkins, the entire time you were one of us.
Oh, that means
you did what many of us refused to do. Your courage, your sacrifice will not go unavenged. I wish we had more time to mourn. But this city-state is on our ass. With the Eagle's Nest crashing, our enemies predictably pounced on the opportunity. Now, even the civilians of the city-state are questioning our existence. We're in trouble.
Behold!
Disney Plus,
really?
Hulu, and Max.
Really?
This is so cool.
It's just the beginning. The ultimate bundle.
Okay, after for number 2. So.
And if all of that is not enough for you, Alpha Core 2 is on its way. I've begun writing it. It's the continuing adventures of Brian, Ingrid, and Braxwell. It deals with the consequences of all the actions, all the stuff that happened in Alpha Core 1. And the destruction of the city. A lot of people are blaming Alpha Core. So Alpha Core has a lot to make up for with the citizens of Forest Park and their own fellow police officers. In addition to that, I create a brand new villain. And it's going to blow your mind. Let me tell you, I'm really excited about this opportunity to be a part of what is basically a comic book movement in the Rippaverse. The fans are great. My fellow creators, like Mike Barron and the Saskas, and the terrific crew here at the Rippaverse. And of course, Eric, driving the bus. We're doing great stuff here, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as we are.
That'll wrap it up for our first ever Rippaverse Showcase. In the future, we'll announce some of the artists and the surrounding team for their upcoming projects. There's still other works that we plan to put out this upcoming year, such as more Rippazines, and perhaps those will make it to the next showcase. We thank you all and appreciate you so much for being customers of the Rippaverse. We do this all for you, and we'll keep working to become a more efficient publisher and make improvements wherever possible. Let's be great in 2025.
Okay, so that was the Rippaverse showcase. Honestly, what are my thoughts? I think it's not bad. I think it's a way to get people hyped, get people to make discussion videos or whatever, review it. Honestly, I can't wait to get Yaira number 2. Y'all already know that's my major character that I really care for. I already knew we was gonna get Isom number 3. And of course for number 2, it just makes sense. And then we're getting Bloodroof 2 already. That means Bloodroof 1 must did well with sales so much that they went ahead and greenlight 2, because wow, I would have never guessed that we would have got Bloodroof 2 already. And finally we're getting something with Norfolk Kids, because I'm just like, so when they gonna come? When are they gonna do something? It's been what? It feels like it's been about 5 years almost. I'm not saying that it hasn't been 5 years, but it feels like 5 years, because they there and then they haven't done much of nothing. Honestly, I said with Norfolk, the Norfolks, I hope it ties into something with Yaira, and I also hope that it might tie into Eric creating a random god character that he can use that's an open domain. Like Thor is there. I say go for it, just for the fuck of it. Hercules will probably be nice just for the fuck of it. Like, why not? You get what I'm saying? Why not use them? Why not throw it in DC and Marvel's face and be like, oh look, I'm using these Greek and North gods, right, or whatever, nanny nanny boo boo. But overall, I think this is a success. I think more publishers need to do stuff like this, get people excited for the upcoming future. I'm not saying you got to go and do voice acting or animations or whatever. People excited about your books and get people talking. That's what needs to happen. But yeah, honestly, that was really it for my thoughts overall. Overall, like I said, Yara number two is the book that I'm waiting for. I can't wait to see more, and I can't wait um how the cost is going to change, and how it's going to make us get the books quicker or whatever, because it looks like they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot of books for 2025, which is nothing's wrong with that. It's just like, wow, and very impressive. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Some of what you guys can comment below. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.